Welcome, Leo. Whether you're a returning soul who's been riding the cosmic waves with us for a while or a fresh face who just felt a mysterious pull to click on this video, you've arrived at Golden Fortune Leo, and let me tell you, the timing is no coincidence. Around here, we don't just interpret horoscopes, we translate the celestial code into grounded, soul-nourishing insight, blending ancient astrological wisdom, deep psychological understanding, and a hint of Buddhist perspective to keep it all beautifully balanced. This week, something significant is unfolding, and the stars are not being subtle about it. With Saturn, the stern but wise teacher of the Zodiac, entering the fiery sign of Aries on May 24th, we are entering a rare activation period. Saturn in Aries is like being handed a sword forged from every lesson you've survived and every fear you've stared down, and now, it's time to use it. Not to fight others, but to rise into the version of yourself that doesn't need permission, applause, or external validation. Leo, this is your year of triumph 2025, and you are not just participating in it, you are leading the parade. Spirit is calling on your inner warrior, not the one who yells the loudest but the one who walks with unwavering peace, clear vision, and heart-led purpose. And speaking of heart, there's another message coming through strongly: magnetism. Not the fleeting kind that comes from charm or performance, but the real kind that shows up when you're rooted in love. When you center yourself in genuine care for yourself, for others, for the journey you radiate. People feel it. Opportunities align. You attract what's meant for you without the exhausting chase. It's about becoming so anchored in your truth that even your doubts begin to bow. This isn't just an energetic upgrade, it's a full-blown soul awakening. You are being reminded that your dreams were never random. Your challenges were never punishments. Everything, yes, everything has been preparing you for this exact moment. So if you've been second-guessing your path, your timing, or your worth, consider this your sign to stop. You're not just one of the many. You're one of the chosen ones. And right now, life is asking you not to be perfect but to be real, brave, and willing to rise. The throne you've been sensing isn't symbolic. It's spiritual. And it's yours to claim. Let's talk about what the cards and the cosmos are really whispering, okay, shouting, to every Leo who's ready to trade self-doubt for destiny. If you've been feeling like your spirit is standing at a crossroads, suitcase in one hand and a vague sense of cosmic déjà vu in the other, then you're not alone. The energy coming through right now is potent, and the tarot cards laid out for you are more than ink on paper, they're spiritual instructions for your next chapter. So let's break it down through the lens of decades of astrological study, layers of psychological nuance, and yes, a few insights borrowed from Buddhist wisdom, because even lions need stillness to hunt effectively. First, we've got the Knight of Pentacles. Now don't let the word knight fool you into expecting a dramatic gallop into glory. This knight doesn't charge in with fireworks, he's the one who shows up early, plans smart, and makes his moves with quiet precision. He's less rock star and more architect, building, step by steady step, a foundation that lasts. In other words, Leo, this isn't about instant fame or fast results. It's about cultivating discipline, routine, and persistence, yes, even when it's boring. Especially when it's boring. That's where the magic hides. Next up, the Star, one of my personal favorites. This card is your celestial GPS pinging with divine clarity. It's hope. It's healing. It's your soul's blueprint lighting up like cosmic Wi-Fi. You're finally starting to tune into dreams that once felt too far away or too someday. But spoiler, someday is now. You're not hallucinating those visions of a higher path, they're real. And they're calling you. Loudly. This is your chance to not just wish upon a star, but to become the damn star. No pressure. And then we have the Six of Swords, the most underrated exit strategy in the tarot deck. This card is all about transition, not in a throw everything in a bag and run kind of way, but more like a slow, sacred sail away from chaos. Think of it as your first-class spiritual cruise out of emotional quicksand. But here's the catch, baggage limits apply. You can't bring that old resentment, fear, or drama on board. Peace only, please. Marie Kondo your soul and let anything that doesn't spark divine joy float away. Now, let's dig deeper into the spiritual backbone of this message. Leo, you've been playing small. I say this with love and the kind of honesty that only comes from someone who's helped more people through their Saturn returns than she's had birthdays. You've been shrinking to fit into jobs, relationships, and thought patterns that no longer honor your growth. Spirit's not just nudging you anymore, it's practically pushing you toward the ledge and asking, are you going to leap or keep clinging to what you've outgrown? Let's also be real, the algorithm is a seductive liar. If your screen time is longer than your meditation time, it's time to reassess. Every drama you indulge, every bit of gossip you absorb, every energy vampire you allow into your field, that's bandwidth you're stealing from your own evolution. Curate your energy like your peace depends on it, because it does. And let's clear this up once and for all, fear doesn't vanish with affirmations or full moons. It doesn't dissolve because you've finally figured out your rising sign. It sticks around. But what changes is your relationship with it. Let it ride in the back seat, sure. Just don't hand it the map, or worse, the auxiliary cord. You're driving. You decide the direction. Every obstacle isn't punishment, it's personal training. Think of them as cosmic reps. That rejection? A bicep curl for resilience. That delay? A stretch for your patience. You're not being blocked, you're being built. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me, try asking, what is this strengthening in me? Spoiler, it's probably your courage. So, Leo, take these cards and this moment as your personal uprising. You don't need to know exactly where you're headed, just know you're no longer meant to stay where you've been. The next phase of your journey is not about proving anything to anyone. It's about building a life that feels like home to your soul. One brick, one breath, one bold roar at a time. Let's talk about awakening, real awakening. Not the kind where you open your eyes, hit snooze 6 times, and promise yourself you'll start meditating tomorrow. I mean soul level, spine tingling, purpose igniting awakening. The kind that doesn't whisper, it roars. And if you're a Leo tuning into this, chances are you've been feeling it lately. That strange internal nudge, that emotional friction, the quiet pull from something bigger than your to-do list. It's not your imagination. That's your higher self tapping you on the shoulder and asking, hey, remember why you came here? Welcome to what I like to call Spirit Warrior activation. This isn't just about charging into battle, this is about remembering you've always had a sword. What you've been lacking is the belief you're worthy of wielding it. This energy doesn't demand perfection, performance, or productivity. It demands truth. It's a cosmic reminder that you're not here just to survive and check boxes. You're here to wake up, disrupt old systems internal and external, and embody the fierce, radiant, grounded light you've always been. Now, let's get real for a second. This whole awakening thing isn't all candlelit epiphanies and inspirational playlists. Sometimes it's more like being handed a spiritual shovel and being told, dig. And that brings us to the uncomfortable, unavoidable terrain of inner darkness. I know it sounds dramatic. But the truth is, the biggest battle isn't against your ex, your bank account, or that Mercury retrograde that keeps wrecking your Wi-Fi. The real battle is between your light and the stories that fear has been whispering to you for years. You're too late. You're not ready. Who do you think you are? Sound familiar? Yeah, that's your shadow talking. And your job, should you choose to accept it, is not to fight it, but to face it. To say, I see you, without flinching. To walk forward anyway. That, my friend, is where the real courage lies. Not in pretending the darkness doesn't exist, but in realizing that your light isn't there to erase it, it's there to hold it, to understand it, and to lead yourself home through it. Now let's talk about control. Or rather, the illusion of it. I don't care how many productivity apps you download or how detailed your 5-year vision board is, life doesn't unfold according to your ego's schedule. And that's not a punishment. That's grace. That's the universe saying, sweetheart, I've got something better. Trust me. The timeline you think you're on? That's just a placeholder. The real timeline? It's divine, unpredictable, and far more aligned than anything your logical mind could plot out with color-coded charts. Here's the kicker: you're not behind. You're not late. You're not missing your window. You are the window. You're not here to chase alignment. You are the alignment. But in order to see that, you've got to stop clenching the steering wheel so tightly and let the cosmos do some of the driving. This doesn't mean sitting back passively, waiting for magic. It means co-creating with faith, clarity, and an open heart even when you're not sure where the road leads. And finally, let's not forget the cosmic signs. They're everywhere, and no, it's not just confirmation bias. When you start to tune in, life becomes one big, synchronistic love letter from the universe. Seeing repeated numbers like 111 or 888. That's spirit checking in. Glimmers of light reflecting off your kitchen faucet in weirdly angelic ways. Spirit. That stray cat that locks eyes with you like it knows your birth chart. Spirit, and maybe a bit of feline attitude. The thing is, spirit doesn't always show up in billboards and burning bushes. Sometimes it's a feather on your path. Sometimes it's a song lyric that makes you cry while pumping gas. And sometimes it's just a deep knowing that you're being guided, even when the road ahead looks foggy. Stay curious. Stay tuned. And above all, don't dismiss the subtle stuff. Those little nudges? That's how the divine works. Quietly. Brilliantly. Persistently. So if you're feeling more sensitive lately, more aware, more awake, good. That's not a glitch. That's your system upgrading. You're not going crazy. You're going home to yourself, to your truth, to your cosmic calling. The stars are speaking, Leo. And this time, they're using your heart as the microphone. Let's talk about something we don't glamorize nearly enough in spiritual circles: peace. Not the yoga retreat in Bali kind of peace, although if you're packing, I'll come too, but the real kind. The gritty, unglamorous, sometimes hard-earned peace that you choose again and again when everything around you is telling you to react, rage, or refresh your notifications. That kind of peace? It's not just a vibe, it's a practice. And right now, Leo, it's your most important one. We're in the thick of the age of Aquarius, and let me tell you, this era isn't about sitting quietly in lotus pose pretending nothing ever gets to you. No, no. It's about radical truth, liberation of the self, and yes, sometimes screaming into a pillow before calmly walking away like the regal lion you are. Aquarius energy is wild. It's electric. It's air meeting your fire. It doesn't settle. It sparks. So when your inner freedom fighter starts getting loud, don't suppress it, style it. Show up for your life with intention, dignity, and just enough flair to remind the world that Leo never fades into the background, even when they're being spiritually mature. Now, onto something that needs to become a weekly ritual for every soul going through a glow-up: energetic housekeeping. Emotional clutter is a thing, and no one talks about it enough. That story you keep replaying in your head about what they said, what you should have said, and what you wish you'd done differently. Yeah. That takes up space. So here's my unlicensed but deeply intuitive prescription: write the letter. Yes, that letter. The one filled with all the unsent rage, the heartbreak, the stuff you'd only say to your therapist or your cat. And once it's out, burn it safely. No need to call the fire department unless they're cute and single. Release it into smoke and let the universe compost that energy for you. Why? Because peace, Leo, is not a passive, fluffy concept. It's a sacred rebellion. It's choosing not to carry what isn't yours. It's setting boundaries, not because you're mean, but because you finally understand your worth. It's clearing your energetic home with the same focus you'd use to spot fake designer clothes in a vintage shop, sharp, unapologetic, and full of discernment. And at the heart of it all is your soul's recipe, equal parts love, fire, and stillness. You need all three. Love without fire becomes people-pleasing. Fire without stillness becomes burnout. Stillness without love becomes numbness. But together, that's alignment. That's strength. That's your throne, Leo. So stir that soul soup daily. Let your peace be bold. Let your silence speak volumes. And never forget, protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's spiritual hygiene. And you, my beautifully blazing Leo, deserve to be clean, clear, and crowned. Let's talk about something a little shocking in the best possible way, the electric eel. Yes, you read that right. Spirit doesn't always send you a majestic eagle or a mysterious black panther. Sometimes, it sends you a slippery, glowing fish with a literal current running through it. Why? Because sometimes you need less float and flow and more zap and go. Right now, Leo, you are being cosmically electrocuted in the gentlest, most spiritually affirming way possible, with ideas, visions, and inspiration that can't, and frankly won't, be ignored. You're not just getting downloads, you're being asked to upload something real into the world. The eel doesn't just show up to say you're special. It shows up to say, get to work, genius. Here's the thing about big ideas, they're time sensitive. You know that brilliant concept that flashed into your mind while shampooing, only to vanish by the time you toweled off? Yep. That was a message from the universe, and no, it's not waiting around while you decide if you're in the mood. The electric eel energy is like spiritual caffeine, exhilarating, energizing, and if you ignore it too long, it turns into anxious pacing. So write it down. Start the draft. Open the Canva file. Build the thing. Bring it to life before someone else writes that lightning bolt straight to your destiny. And while we're at it, a gentle reminder from your friendly longtime astrologer and amateur spiritual electrician: just because your dream doesn't come with an instruction manual doesn't mean it's broken. It means it's alive. Let it breathe. Let it grow legs or fins, apparently. The goal isn't to launch something flawless. The goal is to live with purpose. So forget perfection. It's a myth, and frankly, it's boring. Purpose is messy. Purpose evolves. And so do you. So, Leo, take that jolt of divine inspiration and don't wait for it to make sense. You weren't born to wait. You were born to create. As we bring this transmission to a close, Leo, let's take a moment to breathe in the truth of what's unfolding for you. The angel number 7979 is not just some cute spiritual tag on a Pinterest board, it's a cosmic wake-up call. It's the universe quietly, but firmly, whispering, let go. Realign. Begin again. You're shedding layers that no longer serve you, beliefs, patterns, fears that once kept you safe but now just keep you small. You are not who you were even 6 months ago, and let's be honest, can we take a moment to thank the stars for that? Growth may be messy, but stagnation is worse. You're molding, Leo, and underneath it all is something fierce, fresh, and ready to rise. But here's the real kicker: this isn't just growth. This is a full-blown rebirth. You're not just improving, you're reascending. And no, not in the floating above your body on a yoga mat kind of way. I mean soul-level transformation. You're stepping into divine leadership, not the loud, ego-driven, look at me kind. The grounded, radiant, I know who I am and I show up with heart kind. That's the kind of leadership the world is starving for right now. And spoiler, your essence? It's not optional. It's needed. Now more than ever. So if you've made it this far in the message, if you're still reading, still listening, still showing up for your soul, thank you. Truly. From one fiery being to another, your roar matters. Your presence matters. You are the author of a story that's still being written in stardust and sweat, and it's beautiful even in its rough drafts. Now, before you go off to conquer kingdoms, organize your altar, or just make that second cup of coffee do me, and your future self, a favor, like, share, and subscribe to Golden Fortune Leo. Not because we are chasing numbers, but because energy shared is energy expanded. Because every time you engage, you anchor your intention. And because somewhere out there, another Leo is searching for a spark, your spark to guide them home to themselves. So roar when you need to, rest when you must, and never forget, your journey is sacred, your power is real, and this moment? It's only the beginning.